Along the eastern edge of the Mediterranean Sea sits a narrow strip of land, roughly the size of New Jersey. Today, it is the geographic center of one of the world's most agonizing, entrenched conflicts. Modern treaties and the politicians making headlines today offer only a surface-level view of this deadlock. Contemporary borders and peace accords are merely the latest layer of a much older story. Beneath those headlines is a 3,000-year historical rhythm. It's a cycle of sovereignty established, followed by catastrophic exile and a relentless drive to return. Millennia of recurring conquest forged a national identity permanently fused to this specific ground. Here, the modern state and its ongoing wars represent the most recent turn in an ancient struggle for the soil itself. This map shows the region around 1000 BC. Under Kings David and Solomon, a unified monarchy established its capital and religious heart in Jerusalem. This central anchor turned a precarious crossroads between the Egyptian and Mesopotamian empires into a definitive Jewish homeland. That location made them a target. Over the next few centuries, the Assyrian and Babylonian empires invaded, destroying the First Temple and forcing the Jewish population into exile. This is the Cyrus cylinder. Carved in Akkadian cuneiform, it records the decree of the Persian king Cyrus the Great, who conquered Babylon and permitted the exiled Jewish people to return home and rebuild a second temple. That second temple stood until the year 70 CE, when the Roman Empire brutally crushed a Jewish rebellion. The Romans razed the temple to the ground, leaving behind only the outer retaining structure, known today as the Western Wall. The Roman devastation pushed the Jewish population outward, sparking a massive global diaspora. Over the next 2 millennia, the trauma of that exile and a deep religious longing to return to Jerusalem became permanently embedded in the Jewish identity. In the late 19th century, the land, now called Palestine, was ruled by the Ottoman Empire. Its population was predominantly made up of Arab Muslims and Christians, who had lived and farmed there for centuries. At the same time in Europe, Jewish communities were facing intense, escalating persecution. In response, Zionism emerged, seeking to escape hostility to rebuild a nation in their ancient homeland. The systematic murder of 6 million Jews by Nazi Germany shifted the Zionist movement into an immediate struggle for physical survival. With survival at stake, the movement gained a surge of global support for a sovereign homeland. To manage the resulting surge in immigration and the rising sectarian violence, the United Nations proposed a partition in 1947. The map divided the land into an independent Arab state, an independent Jewish state, and designated Jerusalem as a special international zone. Jewish leaders accepted the plan as the long-awaited realization of their return, but Arab states and local populations rejected it entirely, viewing the UN mandate as an act of colonial theft. The lines were drawn for a collision. In May 1948, the British mandate over the territory expired. Here, standing under a portrait of modern Zionism's founder, David Ben-Gurion officially read the declaration establishing the independent state of Israel. Almost immediately, a coalition of neighboring Arab nations invaded. Israel ultimately won the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, pushing past the UN-proposed borders and taking control of the majority of the territory. For the local Arab population, the war was a devastation they call the Nakba, or the catastrophe. Approximately 750,000 Palestinians were expelled or fled from their homes, creating a massive refugee crisis that remains unresolved today. The map shifted again in 1967. Fearing another imminent invasion, Israel launched a preemptive strike against Egypt, Syria, and Jordan in the Six-Day War. Israeli forces captured the Sinai Peninsula, the Golan Heights, the Gaza Strip, and the West Bank, including the Old City of Jerusalem. These lightning-fast military victories fulfilled the ancient dream of reclaiming Jerusalem, but they also placed millions of Palestinians under direct Israeli military occupation, locking both populations into a bitter, existential struggle over the exact same soil. Today, Israel is an economic and military superpower, boasting high-tech defenses and a thriving startup sector. Yet despite that immense strength, the ancient cycle of tension and violence continues. We see that tension built directly into the landscape. The military occupation of the West Bank, the severe blockade on the Gaza Strip, and periodic violent uprisings from militant groups like Hamas have physically fragmented the territory. friction is fueled daily by the steady expansion of Israeli settlements into Palestinian territories, and by intensely contested claims over sacred spaces, particularly the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. This is the ultimate collision of 20th century nationalism with 3,000 years of history. In this narrow strip of the Middle East, the past is never actually the past. It is carved into the stones, continually dictating the future of everyone who lives there.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to NovaMind for more inspiring thoughts and ideas.